What's going on everyone, Vendy here, and today I'm going to show you how to do the extended Maraudon 1 pull. I'm going to show you how to pull 270 to 290 mobs as a gnome. I won't be using any potions whatsoever. The only thing I will be using is bandages. Now, due to gnomes sucking, that means I will be swimming. Yes, swimming. As I said before, this pull is anywhere from 270 mobs to 290 mobs. There are two reasons the mob count range is like this. 1. How many mobs or what mobs spawn will change this mob count. Also, if certain patrols are along your route and you're able to pick them up. The second reason is, I'm a gnome. Because we swim and aren't wasting a ton of gold on consumables, we will be more worried about creating distance between us and the pack instead of trying to pull as much as possible. First, as always, I'm going to touch briefly on the spec I use for this pull. Then, I'm going to show you how to get where you need to go to begin the pull and the pathing I take to get there. Then, the pull itself. How to recover during the pull, alternate routes to take depending on your level of comfort with the pull. Lastly, I will go over reset spots in case stuff goes wrong and you need to reset. Let's get right into it. I would just like to briefly touch on my build for this farm. This is my new farming spec. This spec is another stereotypical frost farm build with minor changes from my last. It's a hybrid spec for multiple types of farms, ZG, Strathholm, Maraudon, BRD, etc. You can blizzard farm or Kona cold farm. The difference between this build and my last is I don't have Winter's Chill, and I took points out of Arcane Concentration and put them into Magic Attunement and improved Mana Shield. This makes the pull a lot easier with this build since I rely on my mana to be regenerated by Magic Absorption, so Arcane Concentration isn't that important outside of very specific situations. A quick warning before going into the pathing. If you're a gnome and you are just entering the mountain where Maraudon is, be cautious not to auto run, especially in ghost form. If you run and hit the left side of this pillar, nothing happens. However, if you hit anywhere from the middle to the right side of the post, you get stuck and cannot escape whatsoever. You cannot move, you cannot jump, and no potion will get you out either. Just to prove it, I popped an Elixir of Giant Growth and I still cannot move. If this happens, you have to go to the help menu and teleport to Graveyard. Just like the normal Maraudon pull, you want to enter the dungeon using the scepter. When you load in, your back will be to the waterfall. Turn around and head slightly to the left through the passage in the back. You won't swim here, so don't worry about that. Just don't aggro the Hydras. If you aggro the Hydras, they will thrash, which means they attack multiple times at once. Now you want to save your blink for when you go around this rock, behind the lamp, and blink. That way you don't aggro the Dimetrodons. They don't always aggro, but when they do, it's a pain in the neck and you have to reset them. Other than that, you head like you're going to Princess. When you're going to Princess, instead of going over the long bridge, you want to jump down right here. Blink to avoid fall damage. Now, as soon as you cross over this bridge, you are now entering the pull room. This is when you initiate the pull. Now there is a safe spot right here on this rock where the patrols won't aggro to you and you can eat and drink. On the right side of my screen you can see what I cast and who I cast it at so you can follow along. There are two ways to start this pull. Either fireball the patrol and the initial boar pack separately, or you can do what I did this run and blizzard the patrol and the boar pack together. This honestly depends on where the patrol is. Either way works just fine. However, you don't want to spend time waiting for the patrol to get into the quote-unquote perfect position. With that being said, there isn't a perfect way to do the first half of this pull anyways. You only need to worry about two things. 1. Mana efficiency. If you have a patrol running through a pack that you normally fire blast, just cast rank 1 Arcane Explosion as you pass through to pull both, or face pull them. Don't waste mana on 2 spells. Also, try to wand when you have space to conserve mana. This also gives the pack a chance to catch up to you to prevent leashing. The second thing is you want to make sure the pack is as close together as possible. So instead of casting Kona Cold, which slows a mob by 60% for 11 seconds, just Arcane Explosion, Fire Blast, wand them, or face pull. If you do want a mob to slow down and get a little tighter pack, then you can blizzard them, which only slows them for 5 seconds, or you can allow them to hit you. Ice Armor will slow them by 40% for 8 seconds. Try to avoid using Nova as well. If you use it too often, it'll split the pack because don't forget, Nova lasts for 8 seconds. Another way to keep your pack as close together as possible is to not pull a new pack until the trail of mobs is right next to them. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I target the Dimetrodon and wait. I wait until I am almost out of range before I cast Counterspell. This way the Dimetrodon pack is pulled and running with the majority of the pull behind me. At this part, you want to do a wide turn. You triangulate the mobs, allowing them to group up into a tighter pack. If you notice, a lot of times I wait until the last second before casting Counterspell, Arcane Explosion, or Fire Blast. With a pool this long, you need to do your best to keep the mobs as tight as possible. At this point in the pool, you want to make sure you blink ahead of the mobs and get some distance. There's Dimetrodon pack to the right of the bridge. You need to make sure to Fire Blast and not Counterspell this pack. Keep an eye out for a patrol on this bridge. The patrol's pathing is from this bridge to the top of the hill. This is one of the patrols that I mentioned earlier that you can pick up. It's an easy 8 mobs. On this run, the patrol is on the hill, so I Nova and head towards the Dimetrodons in the back. Stick to the right as much as possible without pulling the big guy. As soon as you Counterspell, blink back to the left to this ledge. Jump off, start bandaging, look up, target the front mob and mark them. This way you know when you want to start casting Blizzard. This helps you regroup the pack and pull the pack of Dimetrodons in front of you. This is where the mark target comes into play. When you see the marking down by the Dimetrodons, go ahead and start casting Blizzard. You don't want a full Blizzard, just 3 to 4 ticks is fine. This next part of the pull is where it gets interesting. After you Blizzard and group the mobs, you want to Kona Cold the first pack and Nova the last. If a patrol is in your way, just like in this run, just Kona Cold them. This will slow them down enough to where they are with the pack. On the Dimetrodons, you want to wait until the last second to cast Fire Blast. Now at this point is when you want to create as much distance as possible. Use your blink, but make sure you have a blink before you head to purple side, so you can blink during swimming. Pull as many Hydras as you feel comfortable with, but only pull them with Nova and Counterspell. Try to keep them with the pack, if not in the back of the pack, so again, max distance Counterspell. When approaching purple side, this is when you start swimming. You will start swimming at this point. Hug the wall, jump at the last second, and blink. Because we aren't using an Elixir of Giant Growth, we will be swimming. Make sure to have an Azure Silk Belt equipped. This will give you just enough speed to stay ahead of the pack. Right before you hit the ramp, cast Nova, jump for increased range. Blink up the ramp, turn around, and cast Rank 1 Blizzard at the pack. This will help group them up. Again, you don't want a full length Blizzard, just 3 to 4 ticks is fine. Target the board pack, Counterspell them, and run up the ramp. The rest of the pull is like the normal Maraudon 1 pull, minus a few changes. I'm going to speed up the clip until we get to one of those minor changes. If you are a human, you have time to pull the 2 boar packs on the left. However, since we are a gnome and are worried about distance, we will be skipping them. Now, due to a pathing issue, the pack gets stretched out when pulling the boars, so to fix this issue, as soon as I blink around this corner, I turn around and Blizzard. Again, you don't want to do a full Blizzard, just enough to have the back of the pack catch up. Then following the Blizzard, I do a wide turn. You don't want to do a massive turn, only run around the rock and blink down the pathway. This next part is a pain in the neck. Normally, when you jump in the water as a gnome, you swim. This is not an issue whatsoever because when you jump in the water, all of the mobs stop running until you're by the boss. However, the Hydras do not stop. If you can Nova them right as you enter the water, this would be ideal. If they get loose, you can Blizzard them or cast a Frostbolt at them. You want to keep them with the pack. Like I mentioned earlier, the Hydras thrash, so control these mobs. This portion of the pull is like the normal Maraudon 1 pull. If you would like to know how to do this pull, click the card in the top right corner. I strongly suggest knowing the normal Maraudon pull before attempting this one. In this run, I show you how to use a bandage or evocation if you are low on resources. Once you are comfortable with the pull, I go over alternate routes to pick up more mobs if you are fine on them. Practice makes perfect, so over time you'll be able to do the alternate route no problem. The alternate route timestamp is in the description. For this run, I do bandage and evocate. Then I wait to cast a rank 1 Blizzard on the mobs. This helps prevent leashing. When pulling the satyrs, in the side room make sure you don't rank 1 Frostbolt all 3 packs. You won't have enough time. What I do instead is I Frostbolt 1 pack, Fire Blast another, and Counterspell the last. Because Counterspell doesn't share a global cooldown and Frostbolt is a cast, you can cast all 3 spells at the same time. When you are doing your first lap, try your best to get full mana before you go to pick up more mobs. Allow the imps to free cast on you until you're around 70 to 80% mana. Then, get the other 20 to 30% blizzarding before jumping down. If you need to bandage or use a health potion, go for it. I only do half a lap in this pool, so when entering kill phase, we won't have any time whatsoever to get resources. As I touched on before, make sure that you control the Hydras and the pack. You don't want to be too far ahead, so no reason to blink excessively. However, what I do to help group them up is while I wait for them to catch up, I cast rank 1 Blizzard for only 1 to 2 ticks just to slow the front portion of the pack. I do this in between pulling mobs. Be careful when doing this. In this specific run, I let the pack get too close and got smacked pretty hard. I didn't die, but it definitely scared me a bit. I only do a half lap and wait until the pack is just out of range before I jump. Only blink 1 time when running to the kill spot. You need a blink to blink over the bridge to get into kill position. Now we enter kill phase. This is just like the normal Maraudon 1 pull, except you have Hydras. Hydras suck and their attack range is further than normal mobs. Because of this, you cannot jump to the normal spot. You have to jump to the right branch instead of the left. Practice this jump a few times before doing the pulls. Other than that, it's the same. Sidestep to get the imps up top and kill all but a few. 1 blizzard hop down, 2 blizzards hop up, just like normal. Depending on those few factors I mentioned at the beginning of the video, once you get this down, you will get anywhere from 270 to 290 mobs. When you are learning, you might go as low as 250 mobs. That's because they are leashing because you are too far ahead. Keep the mobs relatively close when doing this pull. The most important thing is to focus on keeping a tight pack and don't freak out. Take your time. When it comes to recovery, there isn't too much of a difference between the normal Maraudon pull and the extended or improved pull. The major difference is, again, the Hydras. Due to their extended attack range, if you do a lap and hop on the tree, they can still hit you. If you are low on resources and need to bandage or grab the oh shit imps and you need to do a lap, you have to do one of 3 things. 1. As shown in the clip, I kill the Hydras before making the lap. If the Hydras are dead, then just proceed as if it were a normal pull. 2. Pop a limited invulnerability potion. Run through the pack, Nova, and go back to the kill spot. Or lastly, you have to do another half lap. When doing another lap, the lower the health of the mob, the slower they move. So don't run too far ahead and don't freak out if mobs are in your pathing on your way back to the kill spot. Patience is key. The last thing I want to talk about for recovery is if you get silenced by Dimetrodon. If you get silenced, you can do one of 2 things. 1. Ice block it off. The problem with this is you might get silenced again or possibly spell batched when coming out of ice block before blinking. The second thing to do is pop a swiftness potion. The second you pop the swiftness potion, run ahead, again not too far because you don't want them to leash, ice block off the silence, and continue just like normal. When you feel extremely comfortable and your resources aren't lagging whatsoever, there is an alternative route that you can take to pick up more mobs. Instead of jumping down and using a bandage or evocation, I usually just run left, chain pull the trees, fire blast the satyr pack by the boss. Then I hop down onto the satyr pack at the bottom of the stairs. After I face pull them, I counterspell one tree, arcane explosion the other. Once grouped, I Nova the entire pack and continue with the pull like normal. There are a few reset spots I would like to touch on. First is the one you'll use the most. As mentioned during the pathing section, if you are running behind the lamp and you pull a Dimetrodons, all you have to do is jump behind this rock. If you're halfway through the pull and you pull the Tinkerer boss or just had a bad pull, jump down from up top. However, just like the kill room, be aware if there's mobs above you, they can hit you from up top. If you are past the rock or you're near the hop down point by Princess, you can always reset on this rock by Princess. When into purple side, although the mobs will reset if you start swimming and don't go far enough or blink to the island, the Hydras will continue running. So, just like normal Maraudon pull, hop behind this tree to reset the pull. It's always best to be safe and not die than to run all the way back and reset. Well, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, do the whole shebang. This is Vendy. I'm out. Peace.